Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Take 10. We come to you every week with a look at a variety of issues, mental health and related issues that impact not only caregiving but carers as well. And Dr. Jamie Huysman, one of our co-hosts, is here. Dr. Huysman is the Chief Compassion Officer at WellMed Medical Management, known nationally for his work as a psychotherapist on addictions and caregiving as well. And Carol Zernial, our other co-host, she's got a master's degree in social gerontology, over 30 years experience in the field. She's co-chair of the Raise Family Caregiving Advisory Council and executive director of the WellMed Charitable Foundation. And Dr. Jamie, as it happens every year, Mental Health Awareness Month is coming. But frankly, for caregivers, why is mental health awareness important?
You know, caregivers may be the most ideal group to have this conversation about, because you know how we separated the mind and the body in healthcare. And I believe that's why we're like 23rd in outcomes in this world, is that so much is neurological, so much is mind-body connection. And we have organizations that have split it, as American healthcare has. Well, in the world of psychology and mental health, we are also guilty. And caregivers and the mind of the caregiver, I think, brings us all home. Somehow in the mental health field, we've separated psychiatric issues, addictions, if you will, which are literally doing anything despite adverse consequences, and believe it or not, trauma-informed care. So on Mental Health Awareness Month, we get to finally, I know an organization that I run, the STAR Network, and others can bring trauma-informed world into the mental health and addictions world. And why that lines up with caregivers most is because caregivers develop resiliency by literally tapping into their brains and retraining their brains to assist them in taking care of loved ones, not just in high conflict situations, but loved ones in general.
So what does STAR, you mentioned the word STAR Network. What is the STAR Network?
The STAR Network was begun 3 years ago. It was a labor of love. To me, it stands for, obviously, survivors of toxic abusive relationships. And we used to be the TAR Network, but we combined with the Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Foundation, and we developed a support group called Taranon that goes around the world that offers free virtual support. Basically resiliency development to really retrain the brain. So STAR Network is a 501c3 that allows us to bring the trauma-informed world now, which is the future of psychology, and allows us to look at men, women, the attachment disorder, and narcissistic abuse through men, women, work sites, and high conflict caregiving, which is really an avenue of caregiving in boomer and senior world that was never really covered over the years.
So what is high conflict? I'm sorry, Carol. Well, high conflict caregiving is what?
Yeah, well, listen, there's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, as we say at WellMed. When I'm their Chief Compassion Officer, I work with, obviously, Carol and the WellMed Charitable Foundation. The growth mindset is somebody who has empathy, accountability, can own things, or basically creates a psychologically safe environment. The fixed mindset is, unfortunately, somebody that's pretty damaged in childhood, somebody who doesn't have a lot of empathy, a lot of accountability, and is fairly transactional. The American Psychological Association says that 1 out of 8 people have that type of personality issue. We call them personality disorders, and that they impact about the entire country, 300 million people. So high conflict caregiving is literally, what do you do when you're taking care of somebody with a fixed mindset, somebody who sees the world in black and white, somebody who literally sees the world revolving around them, where they're the only person on stage and everybody else is the usher? How do you deal with that? And so that's where the STAR Network is dealing with this high conflict caregiving world. Nobody's really touched it. And it's the most tortuous, effort-driven way that poor caregivers can do, because toxic individuals have no empathy, no accountability. They have basically an attachment issue frozen at 5 years old, and so much work to get them to the state of self-awareness.
So how might I know that I have been in a toxic relationship?
You know, Carol, that's a great question. And as we look inside ourselves and heal our own lives, I know in my own therapy every week and at Taranon, what we do is we try to reparent ourselves, to be fair, to be consistent, to be available, basically to change our neuroplasticity of the brain. But to know that we've been or see it is a lot of red flags. So you you've been in that type of relationship with the person in front of you, whether it was a intimate partner, whether it was a work site situation, whether it's a teen or tween, or let's say a caree or caregiver. You know when they're dominant, you know when they bully you, you know when they have no accountability and it's always your fault and they project out and they can't own anything. You know when they can't meet you halfway, which is what a healthy relationship is, 50-50, bearing witness to your pain. No, in fact, you don't matter. And they'll put you down if you have promotions or good things happen. It doesn't matter to them. So those red flags of finding somebody without empathy, accountability, and transactional, we call stepping in tar. Instead of getting psychopathological, we call tar what I just described to you. And yes, we see it everywhere. In fact, we teach modified contact at Tar-Anon, because even if we're getting out of relationships that have impacted us and gaslit us and we're in a cognitive fog, we know we're going to meet them somewhere, and we need boundaries and not take it personal and say we didn't raise them and move on with their lives.
Thank you, Brer Rabbit. We're going to pick this up in just a moment. I'm Ron Aaron. We're talking about toxic, abusive relationships and what can be done about it, and a neat program that Dr. Jamie will tell us about as well, coming up free to you. I'm Ron Aaron, along with Carol Zernial and Dr. Jamie Huysman. You're listening to the award-winning, well, it could be, Take 10. So, Dr. Jamie, where can we get as much information as possible? A national conference, and it's free.
It is free. It's our gift to the world on Mental Health Awareness Month. And we bring the trauma-informed world, and we actually shine a light on toxic, abusive relationships. As I looked at my daughter one day and say, we're leaving you the most toxic world possible. What can we do about it? So every year, the STAR Network, and you can go to starnetwork.org and find some amazing content. We're like the Library of Congress for narcissistic relationships. Or simply go to STARS Day. We put on every year in Mental Health Awareness Month, and we collaborate with organizations to do a full day event. This time we got a star-studded group, and we're working with the Kennedy Forum. Patrick Kennedy is our keynote speaker. We're working with the Society of Human Resources with Marjorie Morrison, who touches 200,000 businesses. We have a fabulous speaker named Jen Libby, who runs the neuroscience for teens. And we have a gentleman who's amazing as an influencer dealing with toxic abusive relationships named Richard Grannon. The whole day, we're giving as a gift to the world, and we're bringing in organizations to honor Mental Health Awareness Month, to be able to integrate a trauma-informed world in Mental Health Awareness Month, and for our organizations really to collectively work together and say that nobody at all will ever be turned away at the door. And we're going to have 30 or 40 exhibitors as well.
So for those that might not might confuse Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is now in the government with Patrick Kennedy, tell us who Patrick Kennedy is within the family.
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting Patrick and talking to him. I said he's impacted my life through his family somehow forever. In third grade, his uncle was obviously assassinated in Texas. Next thing you know, I was on television because there was a trial that involved his cousin. I met his father, had the pleasure of meeting Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy wrote most of the powerful mental health legislation for this country. He was just the lion at the Senate. And now I get to meet Patrick, who wrote Portraits in Mental Health Courage. So he's the son of Ted Kennedy. And Bobby, his cousin, is basically lives next door to him, is the son of Robert, who's also assassinated in our lives. And I remember like it was yesterday. And the Kennedy Forum, which Patrick has brought to us that we're collaborating with, is just the most amazing mental health platform. And through Profiles of Mental Health Courage, he takes the shame and stigma out of mental health through stories. And on Friday, May 16th this year, and next year it'll be probably this is actually the same day. He'll be our keynote speaker, and he'll be really bringing all of this home: recovery from addictions, trauma-informed care, and how to go from victim to being a survivor or a star.
Got to stop you right there.
Okay.
Dr. Jamie, thank you. Good luck with the program. I'm Ron Aaron. Thank you to Carol Zernial and Dr. Jamie Huysman. You've been listening to Take 10.